Godzilla's on the move.
Godzilla.
On this episode of Kpoprc, we're gonna make this sick-ass Skyline, but we're gonna make it all scale as scale as absolutely possible. That's what we're doing on this episode of Kpoprc. I hope to God I don't screw it up.
Welcome to the Skyline build, the Calsonic Skyline GTR from 1990. Yo, welcome to Kpoprc, the channel where I make sick videos of scale models, pretty much anything that's got a remote. So, don't forget to sub up for giveaways and sick-ass RC content. Sometimes there's fire. Affectionately nicknamed Godzilla, this R32 dominated the Japanese racing scene in the early 90s. It appears in all of the Gran Turismo video games. Won 2 championship titles in 1990 and 1993 on the Japan Touring Car Championship. Can we please just talk a little bit about how absolutely sick racing in like the early 90s was in Japan? Like, this is an F40s. I'm pretty sure I saw like some Testarossa in here. This like Porsche 993s, like Skylines, Supras. I'm pretty sure I saw an E30 in here somewhere. Like, good God. If you just want to waste a bunch of hours, just crack a beer and watch some serious racing. You know, F40s look crazy. Yo, so I gotta admit, I am definitely not a huge fan of painting RC bodies. I'm just not good at it. The thing about painting bodies is that you gotta be super detail oriented, you gotta be really clean, and you gotta know what the you're doing, because you gotta think logically about how the paint is going on the body. First thing you gotta understand is that you actually paint these bodies from the inside. So, if you are gonna layer your paint, it's not like a regular car where you put the top layer on the top. No. You gotta start with the details. You gotta start with the trim if you're gonna paint the trim. But, you know, I could jabber and give you the wrong advice all I want. But if you want to surround yourself with YouTubers who can do incredible work, then I suggest checking out Scale Science's YouTube and Instagram channel. Check out his projects. He is an expert painter. Also, check out Extreme Scale Performance, more of a scale crawler guy, but also super into high detail realism. So check out his channel. And then, of course, Hemistorm. Hemistorm actually has really comprehensive tutorials on how to paint these bodies, which is super helpful, kind of fun to watch. You know, so check him out. That's Hemistorm. Extreme Scale Performance and Scale Science. Those are the dudes. Go give them a sub. I just realized that I could have just cut out what I was tracing right here. I could have just cut out that clear section of window, and that could have been my mask. But instead, like a total jackass, I traced it out on some... Look, am I gonna cut my finger off? Oh God. I traced it out on some of these, on some tape. And yeah, and made all of the templates out of masking tape. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think, because I think it turned out pretty well. Guys, I'm sorry. To minimize blood poisoning, I didn't shoot painting it. Yeah, maybe we should talk about how absolutely poisonous this paint is. If you're gonna use this paint, just make sure you're wearing a mask, eh? Just wear a mask. This stinks.
I mean, I gotta fix all this but it looks...
Here's a hot tip. Go and buy some vinyl. There's a double whammy in this episode for vinyl. If you go to a sign shop, usually you can get their offcuts, and I'm sure they'll sell them to you for pennies. And you can get yourself a couple of yards of like matte black vinyl. So what I use black vinyl for is I'll take an X-Acto knife and I'll score a little tiny vinyl line from a large black vinyl sticker. And I'll use that to chase all of the body lines on a RC so you don't have to paint them. Because painting these little tiny lines, or even using a Gundam marker, it just doesn't look quite as uniform as using vinyl. So highly recommend it. Get 2 or 3 yards of matte black vinyl, and that's probably all you'll need for all of your RC cars ever. So do that, and it makes the cars look... the lines on the cars look beautiful, and also can cover up some jagged paint edges as well. So it's another great hot tip. Tip number 2 is directly related to hot tip number 1. Go on eBay, go on Amazon, whatever, and pick yourself up some rear taillight red clear vinyl. They'll send you enough red vinyl to probably do every single RC car ever. But what's cool about it is it's a very thick, high quality red clear vinyl, and it will make any pinkish LED light look like the real deal. So buy it and have it and use it. Use the red vinyl and use it on the inside of the body. It looks freaking dope. That's hot tip. It's a hot tip. I think the coolest part of building drift projects and scale models for me is the cage. The cage is like the coolest part, because you go from a flimsy styrene pipe all the way to a very rigid cage, and you can actually feel how rigid, you're just copying a one-to-one design. But my God, cages work. Cages are a thing. Anyway, so the cages that I'm building the piping is a little bit bigger than scale. It makes it easier to see through the Lexan windows, but it is technically much fatter than probably they would use in a true 1/10 scale. So keep that in mind. It comes in like long lengths, and they're very easy to cut with an X-Acto knife. You can score them. You can, like, styrene is very easy to work with. You get the right glue too, and it's a solvent. It melts the two pieces together with a very, very strong bond, which is super, super awesome. And easy to work with, which is great.
To bend it, I just heat it with a lighter and just bend it. But you can see how kind of terrible it kinks. It's kind of very difficult, or at least takes a lot of patience and skill to turn one of these things or bend one of these things properly with the right temperature. I do think I am overheating them. If there was a way to heat this pipe to a certain temperature that I know makes this plastic malleable, that would probably work better, but whatever. You can also get a styrene tube as a styrene rod, and styrene rods are pretty awesome because they do not do this weird bendy, twisty weirdness when you try to bend them while heating them. So if you wanted to, you could make the hoop out of a solid styrene rod, and then everything else in the cage you could make with the pipe, which, yeah, that's how I would do it. I just have a lot of this pipe, so may as well use it while I got it. Wicked. So that's cage building 101. Just look at photos. I usually find a bunch. I checked out the Calsonic one to make sure that what I was making was at least somewhat period correct and somewhat just correct to the car. So I think I did a pretty good job, which is sweet. Yeah, that's the cage. right, so LEDs. If you go on eBay, you can find there are some guys from China selling huge bundles of pre-wired LED lights. You can find them for like $10. You get 100 in a strand. They will have a resistor in them. They can go up to 12 volts without blowing up. And I find that the nicest brightness is around 3.5 volts, 4 volts. So I am using just the receiver voltage, which is 5 volts, and it is a little brighter than you can see in the background. It is a little brighter than I think looks super correct, but whatever, who cares, it's easy. So that's what I would do. Just go on eBay and buy a whole bulk of LEDs, all the LEDs you'll ever need, and and use those. I just wired them in parallel. I also wired the switch with a positive and negative, even though I know I just needed one. I could have just put the switch on just the positive or just the negative side. I just thought it looked clean, and I also wanted to be able to take it all apart using bullet clips, which I bought from Hobby King. That's another wicked bulk purchase, is to buy the 3.5 mil plugs. I'll make that a hot tip. Okay, I'm gonna make that a hot tip.
That glob, huh?
Yeah, I also 3D printed a little switch holder for the intercooler to make things easy. I know the actual owner of this car, Har, the owner of Cardinal Racing, the guy who sells all the 5th scale MCD vehicles for North America. This is his car. I know it's probably going on a shelf in his house, so it's probably not going to end up being fully an RC car ever. So I put the switch on the front, using somewhere easy where he can switch it on and off, and the resistors make the LEDs run all the way up to 12 volts. So he can jimmy rig any kind of power adapter if he wanted the lights to be on when it's on the shelf. Yo, it's time. It's time for me to announce this episode's winner of the Recaro seats. This episode's winner is
General Hobbies. That's General Hobbies. Yo, dude, your seats are on their way.
Yo, leave me a comment below on this video, make me laugh, and maybe you will be the recipient of the Recaro's next episode. Sick. That's it for this episode of Kpoprc. Buy some merch, buy a t-shirt, download some of my STLs on Thingiverse, whatever. Come join me on Instagram to see my progress. If you can't wait for the videos on YouTube, check me out on Insta. Usually I'm pretty far ahead on Insta versus on YouTube. So just so you know, lots of stuff coming down the pipeline, lots of build videos. This Calsonic is just the first of a bunch of build videos. I'm hopefully going to start with the Cletus McFarlane's neighbor burnout drift car. That would be super cool to start on. And then also I have a fully 3D printed chassis for drifting, which should be pretty cool too. 100% 3D printed, except the bearings and a bunch of ball nuts. That's it. That's the only thing that hasn't been 3D printed out of the project. So that's pretty sweet. So you should stay tuned and you should subscribe for that. Yeah, leave me a comment below. Maybe we get those Recaros. Whatever. Stay safe and yeah, hug your family. K-pop out.